how would you define your blueprint?
That's a great question. So I'd say the first step is to really realize your vision. So really decide like, what is the best life I can imagine? What is the best world that I can imagine? Right? And once you do that, the question is, okay, and then how can I really make that happen? And how can I make that happen in a way that is balanced, right? So if we look at the fundamental principles of the universe, right? I feel like this is actually a good podcast to talk about this. So a lot of people think that the secrets of the universe just nobody knows about, and that we just can't figure out the secrets of the universe, and that the meaning of life is something that's relative and that like we can't figure out. But let me tell you, you can actually figure out the meaning of life. Like I actually know the meaning of life. And like
you figured it out?
Yeah,
okay.
I actually did. This was actually the thing that I spent the longest time figuring out for myself in my journey. I was doing so much philosophizing, so many philosophical conversations until I got to the point where I actually realized it. And what I've personally found about that, and I will say for something like the meaning of life, it is something that you need to experience emotionally and that you need to see for yourself and ultimately feel. However, what I will say, I'll go ahead and drop it on this podcast. The meaning of life is that you create your reality. And that definition goes so deep. It goes extremely, extremely deep. And the core around that is that you choose the reality you create. You literally create your game. And this is why people can have so much confusion around this. Because if you believe in something, your entire world will shift around that thing that you choose to believe. And that thing that you choose to believe will become fundamental, right, to you. And so with that, it's so important to choose what you want to believe, to choose the way you want to see the world, and to let that be an ever increasing and an ever bettering story. And I do believe that to a degree, there are fundamental laws of the universe, which I'll start to talk about. However, I actually believe that is the most fundamental law, that you create your reality for yourself entirely, and that you co-create the universe with everyone. And I actually believe that we are actually at this point, I can honestly say I know we are a collective, right? We can think of ourselves as we are literally cells within a greater being, right? And that greater being is this consciousness that is all of us, right? Some people would call it the universe, some people would call it God, but it really is that consciousness. And if we look to the center of the creation of reality, right, which is something that they talk about in science, it's something they talk about in all sorts of religions, right? There was oneness. There was the start before the Big Bang. There was, the one became the many, as they say in the Vedas. In Christianity, they said in the beginning there was God and God was love. And that is basically just that energy, right? And then it split into two. And that's why we have the yin and we have the yang. And that's why we have the masculine and the feminine. We have the left brain and the right brain. And there's all of these parallels there as well. And then from there, those two collided and that created the source of everything. And so this is a very useful model to be able to look at reality with. And so if you take oneness and you split it into two, right, what you have is you have yin and yang, so you have black and white. And then on the other side, actually something that I've loved looking at for my own brand, because these are my colors, is you have the yellow and then the blue and the red as the three primary colors. And so from that, the model that I've been using is I split that oneness into realization and actualization, right? So that masculine of being able to see the vision, being able to have that consciousness, being able to hold that inside, and then actualization, the feminine of being able to bring that to earth, about being able to create that in reality. And on the other side, for the colors, you have the celebration, right? You have the way that we enjoy life, the way that we raise our families, everything that we do to enjoy, and we have our co-creation, we have our work, we have the business, we have the things that actually fuel everything that we do. And so what we're doing in life is we are having these realizations and we are bringing them into actualization through celebration and co-creation. And both celebration and co-creation are so important because if you're just working, you're not actually enjoying what you're doing. But if you're just enjoying, then you're not actually building, you're not actually creating anything. And so being able to find this balance in those areas is literally how you create any life that you want, any life that you desire. And the beauty of coaching is that it literally empowers you to get places faster than you would be able to otherwise, right? Something that took someone years, you can get all of those downloads in such a small period of time. And the key is that's not just information. It's actually the energy of what people are transmitting to you from the experience that they have lived. And these are the family level codes that used to only be passed down in royal lines and, different sorts of, dynasties that existed and, very big businesses. And now we can actually give these to each other. So this is a super beautiful world to be in. And taking those leaps, right? Taking those leaps of investment to invest in people's programs or to be able to buy that plane ticket and just be able to go for it. There is, when you believe in a higher power, which is a very useful thing to believe in, right? Again, you create your reality. You get to choose if there's God or not. If you don't believe in God, no God's going to show up, right? But if you believe in a God, that God's going to show up. And so if you choose to believe in a God and you choose to believe in a God that has your back with everything, then you have nothing to worry about. And something else I'll tell you, just secrets of the universe, like you are immortal, right? Your soul never dies. That is why people like MLK and Gandhi and these amazing people who were assassinated, they are okay putting their lives on their line because they have so much faith that they are immortal, that they are this bigger spiritual being, and that really their vessel, their body is here to serve in the way that it is here to serve. So all that's to say that you are really the master of your reality. You can make anything you want. You can make any worlds that you want. And that's really why Heroes of Purpose is a movement, right? Because even though it has coaching at the center of it right now, what we are doing is we are literally creating the foundations for us to have this universal core of, what is this universe that we have, and to bring together other people's universes so we can see, okay, what is each person's ideal reality? What is each person's ideal universe? And from that core, because coaching is the core, it's the core of value. It's the way that we give people the codes directly. We can create all the products. We can create the clothing. We can create the art. We can create the music, which, by the way, art is a super advanced technology to be able to communicate vibes. We can create the table, the cup, the cards, everything around this sort of vibe, and actually, use all of that as something that heals people to be able to be the most happy, express versions of themselves. And this is how we can literally create the best world we can imagine. It's not by, building these massive companies that are just always increasing technology. We have to balance that technology with the spirit and with that emotional and with that feminine side of the emotions and what it is that we are actually living and celebrating, and doing that all in a healthy way, so that way we can be having a ton of fun while also just really nourishing ourselves and nourishing the earth. And that's how we build the best world we can imagine.
I could not agree more, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's a blueprint right there.